Welcome back to Boston Public Radio. I'm Jim Browdy. She is Marge Regan, live from the Boston Public Library, streaming at facebook.com/GBH News and youtube.com/GBH News. We're joined now by legendary Boston investor and philanthropist Peter Lynch. He ran the Magellan Fund for Fidelity Investments from 1977 to 1990, relatively successfully. Would you say, I think relatively successfully.
Very lucky.
Yeah. Historic returns for those who don't get it. He served for the past 33 years as chair of the Catholic Schools Foundation, where he'll be honored this Thursday night for his contributions, having helped raise over $116 million in support of life-changing scholarships for more than 60,000 students. Peter, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very, very much for being here, Peter Lynch. So as Jim just mentioned, you're being honored by the Catholic School Foundation. Why'd you decide to give such support to Catholic schools?
Well, my father took sick when I was 7, died when I was 10. My oldest brother, intellectually challenged. But I grew up in Newton. I had great public schools, incredible public schools. And that's the difference in America. 90% of your brain developed by age 6. Age 6. There's a lot of scholarships to go to college, but Boston has a 29% dropout rate. It's higher in Lawrence, it's higher in Lowell, higher in Lynn, higher in Brockton. Our inner city Catholic schools, the urban ones, 11,000 kids, 70% of color, 75% single family. These are parents working 2 jobs, still just slightly above the poverty level. And our schools aren't free. Unfortunately, we have to charge tuition. We wish they were free. We'd have lines around the block. So,
well, you do have incredible, I mean, I was just speaking to somebody at the Nativity School in Boston. I don't think a lot of people even know about that
you're
school.
Right. Mother Caroline or, you know.
Yeah, tell us about a couple of these great schools in Boston.
We have Mission Elementary School in Roxbury, and what's great, we have pre-K programs. And as I mentioned earlier, Marjorie, how so much of your brain, these kids in the top quartile by 2nd grade. We have programs for 2.5-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, all year, great programs. So what can you do? This should be in all public schools.
Yeah.
We've given over $5 million to Boston Public Schools. Then we co-sponsored outdoor gardens in every public elementary school. We do STEM week with other people in every, so we want everybody the chance I had. You know, imagine, they only measured the dropout rate entering 9th grade. Some boys go away 12, 13, 14, they just go away. If you're doing Wellesley or Weston, where's Johnny, where's Jack? It doesn't happen in a lot of places. So it's a tragedy in America. We're solving it. We've been doing this for 150 years. And 30% of the kids aren't Catholic. So we're doing it for needy children, give them a great education.
What are some of the statistics that, when we read them, were overwhelming in terms of graduation rates, success in college, that sort of thing, Peter Lynch?
Yeah, 98% graduation rate. And we get them to high school. I mean, Jim, they don't realize how many people don't make it to high school in North Philadelphia, South Chicago. I mean, it's not fair that if you're in Andover, you have great schools. You have Butt Lawrence, the highest crime rate, highest drug rate. We have a great school, Lawrence Catholic Academy. 95% are kids of color. They mostly speak Spanish. Great success, Jim.
So what's the difference?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's the difference? I mean, your longer school day, smaller classes, what's the deal?
Well, in fact, the charter schools that we've been a big supporter of, they have uniforms. They save $150 a year. But they look the same. No one looks poorer, richer, more academics, longer day, more discipline. But also, they learn to love each other. They learn respect. They learn love thy neighbor. I mean, we teach that.
You know, it seems to me, Peter Lynch, and I'm guessing based upon what you've said so far that you would agree with this, as important as your work has been with these Catholic schools, a huge contribution would be if the best of what you see in those schools could be replicated in public schools that are failing. Can it be? I mean...
Well, hopefully it can. I mean, it's just so unfair that half the people in America are having a poor education, half having a very good... They shouldn't be that way.
So what are the keys to success in the Catholic schools that you think could be replicated in public school settings?
Well, I think more academics, longer hours, you know, more discipline. I think, you know, I don't know the answer. I know our schools work, Jim. They really work. They've done it for 150 years. They speak 30 different languages in our schools, 30. And I mentioned earlier, over 30% aren't Catholic. They just know this is a good way for their kid. They're working 2 jobs, most cases, to afford it. We're charging $6,000 or $5,000 for tuition. These people, they're paying monthly. You know, And we give a 1/3 scholarship to 4,000 kids. We'd rather help one kid with a big deal. We're only helping 4,000 of 11,000 children.
And you were very involved as well at the Elliott School in the North End, right?
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
Well, want to upgrade that school. I mean, any chance we have to help children. I hate to say it, there's all this money going to colleges. And every now and then people get a $50 million check, $100 million check. They forget about ages 1 to 12. I mean, that's where the big hole is.
Yeah.
By the way, there's so many caricatures of you done. You look exactly like Peter Lynch. Is that no, it's stunning. Look at you. It's unbelievable how similar you look. So, so there's this dinner Thursday night, which is honoring you after a mere 33 years. Are you going to be emeritus chair of the board after this?
I'm going to step back a lot because when our youngest daughter was 7 when I started. You can do the math. She's now 40.
Well, I can do that.
We have 10 grandchildren. It's like,
wow.
I mean, they were at home, so I'm trying to spend more time with our wonderful 10 grandchildren.
But what's the answer to my question? You're going to be emeritus, right?
I'm going to be emeritus. I will be involved. I'm not going cold turkey, but I'm going to try and still find prospects and help people.
Okay, so I read one of your daughters said the goal is to raise $5 million Thursday night, which is a record amount. But there's also a special treat that is being offered. There's an auction. What would someone buy if they were to win the auction, Peter Lynch?
Well, we've copied the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett.
Yes, and
he does a luncheon, and it raises like $20 million, for charity.
yeah.
We're trying to have a luncheon with me
Yeah.
at my home. The winner gets it, and they invite 7 friends. I love meeting people.
BLTs and chips, or what are they getting?
We'll probably have lobster.
Oh, very nice.
So,
Very
by the
nice.
way, to bid on the lunch with Peter Lynch, again, 8 people for the Catholic Schools Foundation. You can go to CSF, Catholic Schools Foundation, Boston.com, CSFBoston.com, or ebay.com/CSF. We'll give you that again in a second to win this lunch with Peter Lynch.
Peter Lynch, one of the reps or the things people complain about with charter schools is that they're not taking the kids with the special education issues, the kids that may have learning disabilities.
Cherry picking is the criticism.
Yes, they're cherry picking. And I don't know if that's true of the Catholic schools or not. I mean, because that is very expensive if you have a kid that needs to be shipped off to, I don't know where, to a special school. So what's your answer to that?
We're not cherry picking. In fact, one school, we're trying to add elevators. So we don't have elevators. The school's 1905 on 17 different levels. So we can have children that are disabled go there.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to how you solve people that have serious problems. I don't know the answer to that. Our teachers get paid 1/3 or half of public school teachers. They just love teaching there.
Isn't that a problem, though? Doesn't that trouble you? I mean,
it does. I wish we could double their salary. These are schools, there were parish schools, Jim, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
The parish is shrinking. The school's still there. And, we're trying to keep it existing.
You've been doing this 33 years. By the way, he retired at 46 in 1990 after this insanely successful run. Well, you did. I mean, it is what it is.
That's right. Now he's going to teach his 10 grandchildren how to invest so that they can retire
and for the
young,
33
too.
years since, he's been leading this effort with the Catholic Schools Foundation. In the middle of this thing, particularly in Boston, we lived through the nightmare of the sex abuse crisis thing. How did you weather that? I don't mean you personally. I mean, how did the Catholic Schools Foundation weather that storm?
Well, fortunately, it's one of the heinous crimes of all time, these innocent children. But it was priests doing it. It wasn't nuns. It didn't happen in our schools. The schools weren't the issue. It was a parish priest.
But there is a trickle-down thing, right, in people's minds? How much did that inhibit your work? I just don't know.
Indirectly, it wasn't a positive. It was it's awful. You can't describe how many adjectives you put on that. Terrible crimes are committed on the most innocent of innocent. Yeah.
I just wonder, because I'm a Catholic, and I don't know many that are still Catholics, actually. We're dropping like flies, and the next generation is dropping like flies.
Right.
You must have thought about this. If you were going to tell, especially in the United States, where a lot of people think that the U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops is, they've gone a little far to the right, some of the bishops. I mean, if you were going to advise the hierarchy on the LGBTQ stuff, the women discrimination stuff, spending millions of dollars as the Catholic Church has around the country to fight these abortion ballot things, but not really spending millions of dollars to promote the kind of government programs that would ease poverty that might make women less likely to get abortions. What would you tell them to do?
Well, I think I think they should talk about Catholic charities. It's the second largest provider of social service in the Commonwealth after the Commonwealth.
Yep.
They should talk about who founded the Pine Street Inn. 2 priests. I mean, we have shelters for women. It's in Dorchester. These are women come in that have children.
Yeah.
We have a pre-K for those children. They're in a shelter. I mean, the things, imagine nuns going to Africa 50 years ago, 100 years ago, no flu shots. They're never coming back. They worked in hospitals, they worked in schools. And throughout the world, Catholics have done good things. And we did terrible things over the last, who measured these heinous crimes. And some people believe in, they have faith. There's a debate on abortion. I can't go on that.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced anybody on it.
Yeah.
But there's so many good things. There's so many troubled people. There's so many tired people. There's so many sick people. There's people out of work. That's where the Catholic Church has done a great thing. And I think praying in the morning, praying at night, if you just say, thank you, God, I'm not in Sudan, I'm not in Yemen, I'm not in El Salvador. That's worth saying. And then pray for somebody else.
Yeah. Maybe public relations is a problem, maybe.
I hate to zero. Can we get back to this lunch thing for a minute? Where
Sure.
we're theoretically, again, you can go to csfboston.com. I assume you're not doing this. This is an odd kind of thing for you, is it, or is it?
Never done it before, not my idea. It's a great one, though.
So do you give stock tips at lunch? What do you do at lunch? What do they get besides lobster? Come on.
I'll probably talk about stocks and
You will?
and the economy and what's happening.
Whatever they
What
want
is-
to talk about, you'll talk
Yeah,
about.
we'll
Is
talk
that
about the Celtics and the Bruins. Yeah.
That's fair enough.
What is happening in the economy? Lots of people think we're heading to a recession.
Well, I think-
people are very nervous.
Yeah, I think people are very nervous now. This is the best forecasted recession ever. Ever. Everybody's expecting it. I've never seen so expectations. That's in every sentence. We've had 13 recessions, Marjorie, since World War II. We've had 13 recoveries. Perfect score. We've had 14 presidents.
What does that mean? We're overreacting? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
we should look to the other side. But most important, Jim and Marjorie, if you need the money in a year, you shouldn't be in the stock market. What the market's doing 1 or 2 years is always random.
Yeah.
When it goes down, I never know it's going down. Jim said wonderful things about I had a perfect record when I ran Magellan. 9 times the market went down 10 to 30%. Every time I went down more. The markets follow. And if you need the money, you send the kids to school, or you got whatever it is, you put money in a down payment in a house, you're not a good investor. Because when the market goes down, all of a sudden you start to worry, anxiety goes up. The key organ is the stomach. It's not the brain. We all know 10, 20 years from now, stocks will be higher. But when it's going down, the world's ending. 1980, you guys remember 1980?
Yes.
I wasn't born in
do.
1980.
I remember.
We had double-digit unemployment, double-digit inflation. It was awful. People said the Japanese were going to kill us. Panasonic, Toyota, Honda, Toshiba. The Japanese, we were through. The Japanese are going to kill us. So we've had so many great companies come along since then. Local companies, Teradyne, Analog Devices, EMC.
You know what you didn't have in 1980? A debt default. It seemed that you talk about recessions and
Yep,
whatever
yep.
was 13 and
Yep.
13 recoveries. We haven't had one of these, and there's brinksmanship yet again.
Yeah.
That's a real problem. Isn't that a big worry?
Well, 1991, we had this terrible recession. Bank of England went under, a 150-year-old bank. Almost every bank in Texas went bankrupt. And then we have another terrible banking crisis in 08, 09, when people were borrowing money with a second mortgage, home improvement loan, and they're using it to buy a boat. There's no doc mortgages. I mean, things have really improved. The way they look at banks today are much different. Normally, the problems have been on the credit side. You made a bad loan. And they're doing a better job there.
But I'm talking about the debt ceiling. I'm talking about the federal government. And that we have not experienced before. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I wasn't clear before.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake.
No, I wasn't clear. That is potentially a nightmare in the offing pretty imminently, is it not?
That should not be a debate. That is so wrong. We should not be saying, we shouldn't run up to 11 o'clock at night and say we solved it. We should not worry about the debt ceiling. We should worry about the amount of debt we have, but that should not be a place to be navigating.
They should eliminate the debt ceiling, should they not?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but they should resolve it way before now. A year before it's due, they should resolve it.
Can we talk about, now you're a pretty good investor from what I said before, but apparently you were an even better caddy. Is that? No, I don't know if this stuff is apocryphal or not. Is it true that what we read is you caddied for Ned Johnson?
Well, actually.
What was the deal with that?
Well, I was really lucky. I got a job at 11 caddying at Braeburn, Newton. There's not a lot of golf courses in Roxbury. There's not a lot, there was one in Franklin Park. But I caddied for the president of Fidelity, Mr. Sullivan, D. Sullivan.
Oh, okay.
So he said to me, how would you like to come in for a summer job? So unless I punch somebody, there were 75 applicants for 3 spots. This is 1965. I come in for a summer job, I get the job. I mean, what a deal.
Absolutely.
And caddying was so great because you get the code, because the guys are talking about this person parties too much, this person drinks too much, this person doesn't work. The women didn't say a thing. Amazing. You're caddying for a woman, talk about gossip. They don't say anything, nothing interesting. You walk in
How
next.
disappointing.
I know. The guys are telling all these stories. You learn what they respect. There was a lot of lessons. And we would grade people, Jim. Good golfer, good tipper, good person. So D. Sullivan was a great person, a terrible golfer, and a great tipper. That we would rate everybody. I can still remember. I could rate everybody.
So is it true this would not have happened?
I would not have got that job.
It would not have happened.
I would not get that job. In fact, Natalie Jacobson's father, I caddied for him. He offered me a job at Gillette.
Yeah?
He played at Braeburn.
Was he a good tipper?
He was a very good tipper.
That's good.
He was a mediocre golfer, great guy.
So, and one last thing, because I can't believe this is true either. In some bio we were reading about you last night, beyond your caddying experience, which sounds like it was real, this can't be true. You had a caddy scholarship to Boston College? That is not
Well, no,
true.
there's this famous program that people should know about. Francis Ouimet was a caddy at the
That's
Carnival
right.
when he won the U.S. Open.
It was?
He stayed in amateur his whole life, and just like Bobby Jones stayed in amateur their whole life.
Yeah.
He started a scholarship fund to give caddies so people work at golf clubs. I caddied from 11 to 21. I got it's $1,000 to go to Boston College. I got a $300 caddy scholarship. I got 1/3 of it. I could work and make $700. I had zero debt when I left college.
That's pretty great.
So it's still today. It's expanded since then, Jim.
So, Peter Lynch, we would be remiss if we didn't ask you, since I think it's something like half of the people in America don't have 401ks, not in the stock market.
Yeah.
Half the people over 55. It's even worse.
Yeah.
So if people, young people now in their 20s and 30s that might be listening, what's some wise advice you can give them about investing for their future?
Well, Marty, I think one of the things amazing is some people have their companies doing it,
Yeah.
and they don't participate. And I've jokingly said, wait a second, that's a double every year. You put X in, you put a money market, somebody matches it.
Yeah.
Could I have yours? I mean, I haven't had a double every year. Imagine not
Exactly.
participating in a 401k
Pretty
where it's a
bad.
match. Mm-hmm. You don't have to buy stocks. You put in bonds. You put in money markets. So it's a wonderful program to save money. And that's what, I have no idea what markets can do 2-3 years. What I do know is my whole career, 50 plus years, there's always something to worry about.
Right.
You're not worried about the debt ceiling. They're worried about recession. There's always something to worry about. That's part of it. And that shakes you out. You have to say, I should put X amount aside every quarter, every month. The long-term return of stocks from 28, we had a rather bad 29 with a crash and the depression. From 28 on, the market's gone up 10% a year. That's been your return. And it's been the same since World War II. So longer term, it's a good place to be. But it's a flip of a coin. It's 1 or 2 years. And people get shaken out too much. They should say, I'm in for this, whatever happens. And if you add when the market went down, you do even better than 10%.
But if you're in a job where there isn't the option for a 401k, what do you tell people then?
That's a terrible company if they're not offering that.
Okay.
That should be something, that's a given. Because it's hard today with the cost of everything to save money. This is an incentive to take it out of your pay. It's not taxed. It compounds tax-free. Find a company that has a 401k.
When you were hired, you were 33? Is that how old you were when you went to Fidelity?
No, much younger.
How old were you?
I don't know. What age was in 1965? I guess it was 21, yeah.
No, but I mean when you took over the Magellan Fund.
Oh, yeah, it was 33, yeah.
What kind of confidence did you have?
Well, the beauty of Fidelity is a lot of freedom, a lot of responsibility. They let you, my first stock was Taco Bell. I had to explain to Ned Johnson what a taco was.
Is that true?
That's true. I did not get a burrito supreme. But I mean, I had to explain how good it was, and I bought La Quinta Motor Inns, I bought Four Seasons, I bought Long Island Lighting, I bought Fannie Mae, I bought Chrysler. A lot of freedom, a lot of responsibility. It's the best firm in the country.
What do you think of Abby Johnson's leadership? Speaking of the Johnson family.
So strong, so supportive. Outstanding leader, yeah.
So, Peter Lynch, before you go, I understand that you had the opportunity to meet the famed Elon Musk.
Oh, we were
who's-
just talking about him.
Yeah.
who's endlessly in the news. We were talking about him before.
Good
We were
buddy of
talking
yours?
about
Well, what's the odds of this? We have a great son-in-law, my daughter Annie, married to Scott Lukowski. He got me to, 14 years ago, go to SpaceX. This is a one-on-one tour with Elon Musk. This was before they went public. I had a great time visiting SpaceX. I couldn't figure it out because people on ladders with screwdrivers and hammers. I said, can this thing work? So then we had a wonderful time. He calls me 2 years later. They're going public the next day. He's in Boston. He says, can we get together? I said, yeah, come over to my apartment. Karen was playing at a bridge tournament. So we had a couple drinks at our apartment. And then we went to dinner then right next door. And I paid for the check.
really?
But he's a really smart. But the moral.
You were
of the-
about to say wonderful guy, and you stopped yourself, didn't you?
let's go on to. But my mistake was I looked at the company and I said, I'm not sure this car is going to sell. They had a plant in California they bought for nothing. I should have kept monitoring it because it's a little sketchy for 2 or 3 years. If I kept monitoring the story, our daughter Mary bought a Tesla. It is a great car. If I stayed tuned, I could have made 10 times my money. I fell asleep on that one.
Oh, well.
Too bad because you're really suffering now. So that's really sad that you
I'm suffering.
missed that opportunity. So Peter Lynch, this lunch deal again with Peter Lynch, you and 7 of your buddies, csfboston.com. All the proceeds is for the Catholic Schools Foundation, ebay.com/CSF. It's a thrill to have you, Peter. I
Well,
hope
this-
you'll rejoin us.
Such a great show. Love you guys.
Thank you. You're
Oh,
so
thank
nice
you
to say
very
that.
much.
Thank you.
And the work you've done for these Catholic schools, I mean,
Great.
they are great.
It's really
They are
great.
great Catholic schools.
Well, it's more the children. The children are so deserving. These are kids. Imagine they're single parent, living in poverty, and they love coming to school. They don't miss one day. They come every single day.
And
Well, you
they
should feel
go
good
from
about
those,
yourself.
and I know from the Nativity Prep go on to places like
Oh.
Philip Sandover,
Oh, yeah.
scholarships,
Yeah.
St. Sebastian,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
scholarships. So right through high school and then right on to college. So it's really doing the Lord's work, as the
Well,
Catholics
I've
say.
been so
Peter
blessed.
Lynch.
No one's been more blessed than I have. A wonderful wife, 10 great daughters. I've been so blessed in my life. It's some way of giving back. That's my mother taught me that.
It's pretty great. So Marjorie and I are going to pool some money. We'll see you at lunch.
Thank you so much for
Peter
coming
Lynch.
in today.
Let's hear it for Peter
we
Lynch.
really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much for your time.
Peter Lynch is a legendary Boston investor and philanthropist, and he's now transitioning from chairman to chairman emeritus of the Catholic Schools Foundation, and he's going to be honored by them. This is Thursday night, correct?
Thursday night.
This Thursday night. Peter Lynch, thank you very much for coming in. Coming up, CNN's chief national correspondent, John King, listening to Boston Public Radio 89.7 GBH.